Man, I'm starting to wonder if this was even worth the money. And we're back, DLG fam. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to all the new viewers. Thank you for coming by to our channel. Bienvenidos a todos al canal de LG. Gracias por tomar el tiempo y venir a nuestro canal. So it's been about a month that I got this particular product, the Logitech G Cloud to be exact. And I had an opportunity to actually test it and get a feel for it. And let me tell you guys, I'm actually on the line of it being worth it and not worth it. And I will give you guys a breakdown as to why I feel that way about this particular product. So this particular product is actually aimed for streaming. I use it to stream my Xbox remotely, and I did try out the cloud gaming, and I will touch base as to how I feel on each one of those. I did also try out the PS5. Somebody left a comment on the unboxing video that it was compatible to PS5 remote. It isn't. The actual controllers do not work. I will show you what am I talking about. You only get on-screen controls. So let me give you a breakdown as to why I feel that way about this particular gaming device. So the device itself goes for $349.99. It's actually on sale right now. I'm wondering why it's on sale, and it's going for $299.99. I mean, it's obvious that was going to happen. This is the direct competitor to the Steam Deck as well as a Nintendo Switch, but it falls short on a lot of features. And let's go to the overhead shot, and I will talk to you guys exactly as to why I feel that way about this particular product. Alright guys, so let's get to the nitty and gritty and talk about the pros and cons of the Logitech G Cloud. So let me point out the pros real quick, and then I'll give you a breakdown as to why I feel that way. Screen, build quality, ergonomics, the joysticks, battery life, and sound quality. Let's touch base on the actual screen. The screen is a 7-inch screen, 1080p, 60Hz display. The display itself gives you nice, bright, vivid colors, and I will actually try to load remote gameplay. All right, as you guys can see there, I'm not too sure if I can convey the actual brightness of the screen itself. It actually gives you nice, bright, vivid colors, blacks as well, and it looks really good when you're actually playing. Let's go ahead and load up a game real quick. All right, guys, look at that right there. Look how clear it actually looks on this 1080p display. That's pretty neat. Listen to the sounds right here. Raise up the volume. If you're playing locally, this actual device, it works very good. So check out the sound. That's pretty good, right? For a mobile device of this size, those speakers actually sound pretty good. And let's talk about the actual build quality. The build quality is actually, it's pretty good. You know, it's a nice sturdy device. You could twist it, you could turn it, and it's not gonna break that easily. Not unless, obviously, if you put on a ridiculous amount of pressure. As far as the ergonomics, they were able to actually add a curvature here that actually sits very well in the palm of your hands, and it doesn't feel weird. So this area here actually sits well in the indentation in the palm of your hands, and you could actually wrap your fingers, and it feels as if you're holding an actual controller. It doesn't feel odd like it does with other handheld devices. For example, for me, the Nintendo Switch, it feels weird when I'm holding it. There's no ergonomical shape to it. So the Logitech G Cloud does have an ergonomical shape on it, and that's a plus for me. As far as the joysticks go, they're a little too soft, but they do feel like you're playing with an actual controller, and that's a great thing. You don't want to actually roam outside of the comfort zone of a gamer that is seeking for the same type of feel that they do feel when they're holding their actual controller. Now let's talk about the battery life, guys. The battery life on this device itself is actually really good. You get almost 12 hours of gameplay on it, and I've been using it throughout the day. And to tell you the truth, after playing it for about 3 hours, I think I probably knocked it down to about 80%, which is pretty good. You know, I still had 80% battery to go. The brightness was almost all the way up, and I still had some juice left to be able to game the rest of the day without having to charge it. So let's talk about the thickness. So it's about a ½ inch thick, where on the edges it actually goes out to about a full inch and a half, I would say. As far as the actual layout of the buttons and the joysticks, they went ahead and did the same layout like you would find on an actual Xbox control. As you guys can see here, you got your XYAB, XYAB. The buttons themselves, they're a little too soft. The amount of pressure that it takes for you to activate a button and the directional pad is completely different. It would have been great if they could have used the same type of device that they use underneath. The buttons themselves are actually analog buttons, where the directional pad, it has a conductive rubber. So they did go ahead and add a lime color to the actual controller itself. As you guys can see here, small accent colors here on the G, on the actual right thumbstick as well. So I know I showed you guys the backside of it, but have you guys noticed there is no actual screws on the device itself? everything is more than likely used with pressure clips, where you would actually need some type of plastic tool in order for you to pry it open. Not too sure why you would want to pry it open, but that's just something I thought I would point out. There is no screws on the cloud system itself. As far as the grip goes, they did go ahead and create these small ridges on the plastic itself. This is not rubber. This is actually cut into the plastic itself to mimic the actual rubber that you would be able to get on an actual controller. For example, on the Elite Series 2, you would get this particular rubber here, and on this one it's actually plastic. So the sound quality on this particular device is actually really good compared to other handheld devices. You would be surprised the amount of volume that you are able to get out of this device and the clarity that it comes out of these two little small notches here. That is pretty cool. So talking about this area here and these notches, you get a 3.5mm headset jack in order for you to be able to use earphones, but you can also use a Bluetooth headset on it. So what OS does this use? It actually uses Android 11, and this particular interface is the Gamer UI. This one actually doesn't have a lot of things for you to be able to mess with. You would have to switch it to the regular tablet version of the UI itself, but you can install various different apps on here just like you would on a regular tablet. You also get an area for pictures, you also get an area for your account, you get a messaging system here that you get all your system messages, where Logitech pushes announcements right here, and that's a good thing. So for example, if there's an update, you will get the update announced in this particular section, but then you also get app announcement of all your YouTube channels you subscribe to, the actual weather, the battery. As you guys can see, it was actually at 0%. I had to recharge it, and everything else goes here. You're able to view the pictures you have stored in your Google Photos. That's another neat thing that, you know, it doesn't take you away from an actual tablet. You still feel like you have a gaming device and an actual tablet built into one. You also get the settings here where you're able to actually, you know, connect to the Wi-Fi. You get Bluetooth. You also can go into airplane mode. The display, you could actually raise up the brightness right here. And that's how bright the screen actually goes. You could do adaptive brightness depending where you are, it'll auto adjust. So let's talk about the actual brightness for a little bit. The brightness level is 493 nits and the contrast is 1500 nits. That is an awesome number for this particular device. You can also switch wallpapers, you can go to sound, you could turn off the sound effects for all the clicking sounds, the little water drop sound, you get a screen lock sound, the charging sound, vibration. Oh, and about the vibration, guys, you only get vibration when you're actually using the controller in the UI mode. You do not get any feedback when you're actually playing video games, which I thought you did, like I talked about it on my unboxing, but comes to my surprise, you don't get that rumble feature when you're actually playing the video games. It's only within the actual Android UI. And then the battery life right here, it tells you the battery status, the temperature, battery saver, you could turn that on to save some battery. The language, you could remap your buttons. If you go in here, you could change the controller itself to whatever layout you want. You're able to change the actual buttons to wherever you want them to go. I don't mess with that. I just leave them by default to whatever they're set at. It also has accessibility modes. You could actually adjust the display size for the font. You could raise it up or lower it down, as you guys can see there. Let's go into accessibility. So the accessibility is based off of the Android system. You're able to change a lot of things in here, and for system updates, you're actually able to do automatic updates. That's really good because you want to be able to have your actual device up to date to the current system version. Then device information, as you guys can see here. Let's talk about the actual storage. So the storage on this device is only 64 gigabytes. From there, you actually have to think about the partition where the OS takes up a certain amount. As you guys can see there, I have 39% used and I only have 38 gigabytes left. What am I left to download? You know, like the games are so big nowadays. What am I gonna do with 38 gigabytes? That's nothing. Real quick, guys, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You guys did notice that it actually has a latch here for an external memory card. So here's my external memory card. The issue with this particular system is that the actual memory card system does not support exFAT. What does that mean? You cannot have games that are larger than 4 gigabytes. Come on, Logitech. We live in an era where 64 gigabytes is nothing. We can have up to 4 terabytes, 3 terabytes, whatever you want to be able to have. You want to be able to put it on there. This is only a 128 gigabyte card, so I'm pretty sure that it'll read this one, But you know, as like for me, I don't like to have small memory cards. This one was on sale, so I actually said, you know what, let's just grab that and give it a try. So if you're a power user, you can actually change this device to an actual tablet mode where it'll switch everything to the way that you will see it on an actual tablet. As you guys can see there, you will be able to switch to this mode and you will actually unlock the full features and the full potential of the actual device. It's actually just like if you were on an Android tablet and you're able to access all the system settings. I did go ahead and install the memory card in there. So as you guys can see right there, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, 25 gigabytes already used, and I don't have anything installed but remote gaming systems. And the SD card that I have is not corrupt. It's the fact that it was installed on my actual drone and I just grabbed it to put it in here. But let's go ahead and set that up real quick so you guys can see the way it works. So there you go, 128 gigabytes on the external card. I just think that internally they should have had at least minimum 128 and give you the option of 256 at least. You're actually able to run emulators. So I will show you guys in another video how you guys get that done. So for the price point that this is at, the processor that they use on this device is the Snapdragon 720G, which I feel that it does not suit well for the price point that they actually put this device at. So now let's talk about the cons. The fact that it does not support an ex-FAT system, that is not good, guys. Number one, the shape of the L2 and the R2, check it out, guys. Look at the way that is actually curved. It's indented towards the inside, so there's a dip on it. And it actually feels kind of weird when you're holding on to it, and it doesn't sit well with my fingers. So if I was to press one, I think I'm going to accidentally press the top button itself right here. As you guys can see right there, my finger actually rests on top of the R1. So by accident, I might end up hitting the top button. They should have just made this flat, completely flat. That way you can rest your finger a little bit lower without it feeling kind of weird that you're pressing up against an edge. The second con, there's no HDMI output or video output on this device. This device is strictly for charging. This is not a data pass-through, and that sucks. The software, when it comes to the gaming UI, it's very restrictive. You need to get out of it and go into the power user mode like I am right now. And I think that really sucks because you should not restrict the user to use a particular type of system just because you're trying to push the actual console itself so people can buy it. Now for the memory, if you want to be able to run games that are larger than 4 gigabytes, you need to use the internal memory on it. Games that are 4 gigabytes or larger are not supported via the actual memory card, and that really sucks because internally, how many games can you get in there in what you guys saw that I had left, which was about 38 gigabytes, what, maybe 2 games, 3 games at the most, and now you're pushing it to running out of space for all the other things that you might want to have on here. That's another con on it. So the main con on this particular device, the price point. I feel that this device should have never gone for 350 bucks. I think 250 bucks should have been the actual top limit and possibly push it down to just 200. Why? Because of all the pros and cons that I did mention. Although it is a nice device to be able to game locally, when you're trying to game on it on the go, connected to your actual phone's LTE connection, it is laggy. All right, guys, so I already showed you guys that it actually works with the Xbox remote. Let me show you how it does with a PS remote. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to connect it to my PlayStation. There you go, you guys heard it, it turned on. Let's give it a few seconds and we're gonna see how does the screen look and if the actual controls function when you're trying to play PlayStation 5. All right, guys, there it is. You see what I mean? So the actual controls, the joystick, the buttons, none of that works with the PS5 remote play, not unless I press on the screen. Then I'm actually able to switch through all the menu items that are on the PS5. So let me show you guys that in reality, it doesn't work. Let's load up God of War. You guys see right there? Wireless controller not detected. Please check connection and battery levels for wireless controller. Look at that. It does not work with the PS5 remote play. Okay, so we're gonna use this, the on-screen controller, to show you guys how it functions. All right, you see right there? Okay, so look, I'm pressing all the buttons. You press on the screen and that's the only functionality you get. So the way you move on the game is by going on the screen. Like, why would I want to be pressing on the screen itself in order to move in a game? So there you go, guys, incompatible with a PS5 remote play. So another system that this is compatible with is the Steam Link. As you guys can see here, it's trying to connect to my computer, and there it is. Look at that. So you're able to run games as if you were playing on the computer. So let's try Destiny, and let's go in there and launch it. This device is actually going to be using your PC as if you were playing on it, but it's just getting pushed on the screen as an external display. All right, guys, as you guys can see right there, I'm actually running Destiny 2 off of Steam Link. It's using my computer and using the Logitech G Cloud as an external display. All right, guys, so let me know, what do you guys think about the Logitech G Cloud? I'm kind of bummed out on having it, you know, because of the fact that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I hardly use it. You know, I've used it a few times when I go outside and sit down. But as far as, like, for example, first-person shooters, the thumbsticks, they're a little bit too loose. You can't really get your aim right, and you're all over the screen when you're shooting. Soccer games like FIFA, your players are rather too small. Even though the quality of the screen is really good, you still find yourself kind of struggling to actually see the screen. So another thing, guys, this device is not Wi-Fi 6 compatible. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think about this particular device? As far as it being a great purchase, it's not a great purchase due to the cons that I did mention to you guys. And also, I don't find myself using it a lot. I still game on my actual console. I feel that this device itself is being restricted a lot by the slow processor and the lack of RAM on it. Although you can do emulation, but I'm not too sure why you would want to emulate on here. You know, all the older games like the NES, the N64, PlayStation, and all those other consoles. As far as the connectivity for cloud gaming, even though cloud gaming really has not taken off, it's laggy. I have a 1 gigabit connection and I still get some lag and interference due to the walls in my house. You know, depending on where your router is, if there's walls, there's going to be some interference. If I'm sitting in the front of my house, I was getting a lot of lag on the system itself. Can you imagine playing online multiplayer? You're gonna have a lot of latency, and that's the one thing that you don't want when you're playing online is latency. I could deal with it if I'm playing a game locally, but if I'm playing multiplayer, I don't want any type of delay on my device. I don't think it's a great buy, but if you do have one and you think differently, let me know down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this particular device? I think I should have just waited and got the actual Steam Deck, but then again, that has its pros and cons as well. This was actually the more inexpensive route, even though it's like by like $50. And as far as the memory goes, internally it's not upgradable, or you can only install an actual memory card. So if you're a dad, a gaming dad, looking for your next mobile device to game on, don't forget to check out my latest video. But till next time, guys, I'm tEcK. Peace out. Esta cosa, ese precio, no lo vale.